New me. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. You're watching us live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Check out our website.
Sorry.
You can also find us on Twitter. That is Twitter, right? X is Twitter?
Yes, X is Twitter.
I'm so confused. Instagram, Hive, and Blue Sky is what I need to be telling you. We're starting a few minutes early, and I was saying this is so contrary to who I am as a person of color because I am on CPT.
But to be fair, nobody watches anyway. So
that's true. So it doesn't matter. You're going to watch us on the replay. All right. Thank you so much for being here and for watching us later. Thank you for supporting our nonsense. Send stars, thumbs up, tell everyone you know. Go like, subscribe, share, and you can turn off notifications and still subscribe. So don't be a loser. Go do it. Thank you. All right. What do you got going on, babe?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Did you want to tell anybody anything?
Hello.
Somebody's been sick. So let's just dive into some movies, babe, and we'll get it done so you can go take a break.
I apologize in advance because I have a random cough.
All right. Let's go here.
We didn't have a show last week because unforeseen circumstances made it hard to do a show, so we ended up. We didn't have as much to talk about either.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't gone to the movies in a while, and we watched some things, but it was like one or two things. We like to have at least 4 to 5 to 6, just to have a variety. So we're catching up last week's, and then the few things we watched this week. Nothing new opened in theaters this week.
Yeah.
So we didn't go to the theater, so it's all older stuff. So what do we got first?
We're going to talk about The Marsh King's Daughter, based on the book of the same name, starring Daisy Ridley and Ben Mendelsohn.
Star Wars and Marvel together. Well, he was in Star Wars as well, so they were both in Star Wars.
He's the bad guy in Star Wars.
He was in Rouge One.
In Rouge One, when she was but a babe.
Yeah.
Trying to go get her.
No, that wasn't her, but
it wasn't.
No, she's Rey from.
Who's the little girl?
He's from Rogue One, chasing the other girl.
Who's the other girl?
If you hadn't asked me, I could have told you her name.
Oh, well, never mind. Don't tell me.
Anyway.
But isn't it the same character? But that's her as a child?
Rey is not the same character as
oh, my gosh.
the chick that dies in Rogue One.
Oh, that's the other girl. Yes.
Just said.
Okay, sorry. In Rouge One. Let me go look up Rouge One.
I could have told you had I not. You not asked me, but not.
And I actually typed in Rouge.
Excuse me, sorry.
Oh, so funny. Moulin Rouge. Oh, well, it's so not important. Tell me about this movie.
You tell us what it's about.
Okay, so basically it's about this girl who likes to go hunting and fishing and learning all sorts of stuff with her dad, and they seem to be having just a grand old time.
Her name is Felicity Jones.
There we go. And her mom, Marsh King's daughter's mom, seems just very distant, like she doesn't really care for the kid or whatever. Well,
but we don't know why.
We don't know why until one day a stranger shows up.
You're not supposed to tell them. It's a spoiler.
Oh, I'm not going to say everything. Yeah. A stranger shows up, and suddenly the mom...
Stranger danger!
The mom starts reacting in a very strange way. And we're like, what is going on? And then that's when craziness ensues, and you find out Daisy Ridley is the Marsh King's daughter.
And then it jumps ahead to where she's grown and dealing with the same fallout of the truth of her past and who her dad was and the family issues and things like this.
Yes.
It's kind of a thriller. I wouldn't say revenge thing at all. It's really just more of a thriller, cat and mouse kind of thing, sort of drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to see. I mean, it's just like her estranged father, because things happen. They lose touch, realizing he's dangerous, secret past, and then later on, she has a daughter, and so I'm like, is this perpetuating a cycle?
Right.
Or are we breaking the cycle?
I enjoyed the movie.
I liked it too. I for all the hype I kept hearing about the book and then the movie, it wasn't as
see, and I didn't get a lot of hype from it. I actually had heard a lot of negative things.
Oh, okay.
About it.
I just heard people from book clubs.
Well, I wasn't hearing anything about the book. I was just hearing about the movie. And I think my issue with the movie is it's a fine movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting story. I thought there's a massive time jump, like a 10-year time jump. And I think that to me is where I lost some of my interest in it, because I think we really lost out on to really get the emotional impact of her life from where it was we see initially, and it's kind of setting her up to be like a Rambo-esque survivalist as a child, right? Then having to put her in a situation where she's basically having to kind of reincorporate into the normal world. We don't see any of that part of it, the reincorporation. We just now where she's an adult, she's married, she has kids.
Right.
I think there's a missed opportunity to at least have a few time jumps of seeing her struggles and how does she re-embrace it? How does
she cope with?
How does she get to a normal person level from where she was at?
Yeah.
And then I guess my other big issue was it felt like it was leading to this kind of showdown that I thought was going to be like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to get to see her put her skills to the test. And it's going to be one of those exciting moments where she's using the stuff she learned.
Right. That I didn't
get the revenge back. And while she uses a few things, it really wasn't there.
I mean, some of it was. And that's the part that I liked, that stuff. I was like, oh yeah, she remembers this or she knows this from being in the woods, because I don't know.
But it was never anything that it felt like anybody probably could have figured that out, even if you didn't have that training. She never really got to fully kind of take advantage and really show like she's something different.
Yeah.
From her years. I didn't feel that.
I gotcha. I know what
now, a lot of it is like there's like kind of this real life element to it, so that's probably part of it. Is I'm looking for this Rambo, MacGyver, woodsman, whooping ass thing. That's not what this movie is at all. It's not an action movie in any way. It's really more of a drama that happens to have some little action elements and twists and turns.
Yeah, correct.
But as a whole, as a movie as it stands, I liked it. I thought it was a good movie.
There was one part where she's running in the woods, and I'm like, she kind of runs like that lady from Star Wars. Because I'm looking at her running, and I'm like, this is so bizarre.
There's a reason for that.
Because, is that, I wonder if that's in any way just a thing like that they deal with, like people. I mean, she's recognizable as Star Wars.
Yeah, and she's coming back.
And that's all I see when I see her. And it's like I was really trying to just get something different.
Yeah, they all do. That's why a lot of them.
It's difficult for me as a viewer.
From that, because they have the fallout of the asshole fans, which is one big issue. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of people that had got typecast.
Yeah.
And all of that, hey, you were in this, and they said all they want to give them is sci-fi, or they want to give them a horror, or whatever that big
Some
thing.
Some people lean into it.
Yeah.
But you know who's done really well? What's the kid with the big ears? The guy that she's always fighting.
Adam Driver.
Yeah, him.
Adam Driver was. He'd done stuff before the Star Wars.
He's done so much good stuff too, though. He's so.
Yeah, he embraced the Star Wars thing, and then he's already said, "Okay, I'm done with that."
And he was in the Ferrari, right? That was him. Yeah, so good. Anyways.
But he was on that show, Girls, I think that was called. He was on that show before that.
I see. Who knows?
So
anyway, sorry, we digress. The Marsh King's Daughter. It was okay.
It was good. It's one of those good movies, but like. There's things that I would have preferred them to do differently. It didn't really pop as much as I kind of hoped. It has the makings of something that could have been, I thought, really cool.
Yeah.
But instead, it's more just a straightforward drama. Now, if you've read the book, I don't know if it follows the book exactly. So if you like the book, you probably like the movie. So it's worth checking out.
Okay. There you go.
It's available now on Blu-ray and DVD.
I'm
sure digital as well.
Let me go to the correct slide.
Next.
I'm on the next. Tell me about the Childe with an E.
The Childe.
Childe.
Excuse me. Sorry. Childe is a Korean action thriller. It's basically about this boxer who he's estranged from his dad, who's this rich guy, and he's been trying to make money for his mom's surgery. And apparently his dad comes looking for him, if I remember correctly. But for some reason, there's some guy trying to kill him. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes this kind of game of cat and mouse and running around, and he doesn't know why this guy wants to kill him. He doesn't know why his dad suddenly wants to see him. And at the same time, like I said, he's fighting and doing all these things. He's trying to just save his mom. So there's a lot of these layers of mystery and intrigue of what's really going on here. and all wrapped up in a bowl of a buttload of action.
Yes.
What'd you think?
I liked it. Sometimes it got a little convoluted as to what was happening, and I don't know if maybe we weren't paying attention or reading along correctly. But there was one time I'm like, okay, hold on, who is this and why is he here? Like the guy comes to bring him to his dad or something, and then he gets hit in the street by the car by the lady, and then he takes off with the lady, and I'm just like, why would you go with this lady that just hit you? She ran over you.
Yeah, that's and I say this a lot of time in a lot of reviews. A lot of the Asian cinema, I think, gets convoluted.
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes it's a language barrier between what the subtitles are saying, what they're probably actually saying. But more often than not, I think they have so many things happening sometimes that aren't necessary because they're really trying to fill out, unlike a lot of U.S. films where their U.S. films are willing to just jump from one thing to the next and don't care. Asian cinema feels like it's trying to
fill in all the gaps.
And sometimes you're watching somebody deliver a pizza and you're all involved and it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
Correct.
And so you're like, wait a minute, why did I just care about this conversation?
Well,
this movie's like that. And because I think there's a lot of twists and turns, it does get convoluted.
Yeah, because then you get further on and there's a twist. And then when you get to the very end, you're like, what?
Then the whole thing makes sense.
Yes, then it makes sense.
I really dug this
you
movie.
Have to stick with it and don't be all like, I don't want to read my movie.
It doesn't waste any time. Really, it gets right into
the action scenes.
There's a great action sequence right at the beginning of the film. Yeah, and then there's like full on car chase scenes and shootouts, and
that thing was making me nervous. The guy with the motorcycle.
And then the ending of the movie has full on super bloody fighting and stuff. It's a great action.
Really good.
Yeah, it's a great action flick. You know, like I said, you get past some of the convoluted nature of it, but as a film as a whole, and the interesting twists and how it circles back and plays everything else, I thought was pretty clever.
It was actually very clever. I just wish. I don't know. I wish it was a little bit more straightforward sometimes, but maybe that's just me as an audience person. I need to just get with it. It's actually really good. I liked it more than the other one.
Yeah, and it's one of those too that you're not getting the unstoppable hero.
Yeah,
it's there's a guy that's getting smacked around.
He's a great fighter, but yeah, he's still getting beat up.
And and it's kind of funny at times too, because there's like even a moment where the assassin guy's holding him, and the guy punches the shit out of him. And he goes, oh, yeah, I forgot he was a boxer.
Yes.
He's like, man, he hits hard.
Like, hello.
I enjoyed this movie a lot. It was a lot of fun. You just got to stick with it. It's never boring because it's almost nonstop action through the whole thing.
You do have to pay attention because there are a very creative cast of characters.
Yes.
And like this lady that's there, not even the lady that ran over him. It's a different lady that gets involved. And I'm just like, where did this girl come from?
Yeah.
And what does she have
to
do
the
with
guy
this?
that's like the assassin type character, he's the best character of the movie.
He's like weird, he's
quirky and weird,
and kind of over the top, but fun.
Yeah. You can't help but like him, even though he's a total jerk.
And at the end, it's funny too. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm down.
I dug this movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
The Childe is available now on Blu-ray and DVD, and I believe we're giving away copies of it on our website.
We are HollywoodMatrimony.com.
I'm gonna make sure I am, aren't I?
Nope, doesn't say it.
Nope, never mind. It was over. Forget it. We're not giving those.
We were last week.
It was over already. Sorry, you don't get any of this one.
Yikes. JK. All right, next movie. I was just going in the order they showed up on the side.
Oh, this one's all you.
Oh, Journey to Bethlehem. I thought did this come out during Christmas and we missed it? Because we got the Blu-ray later on. But anyways.
With Antonio Banderas and the guy that I swore was Wesley Snipes.
It's not. It's
not. No, I know. But when you look at it, it looks like Wesley Snipes.
It does a little bit.
And then I had to look at the box a little closer and I go, that's not Wesley Snipes. Man, why would Wesley Snipes be in this?
Maybe he cares about Jesus.
Anybody care about Jesus?
Anyhow, the movie Journey to Bethlehem is a retelling of the story of Jesus's birth. You have right there Mary, Joseph, the baby, the little donkey. They're on their way to Bethlehem to have a baby. It's a musical. Okay. So first of all, it is a musical. And I guess I didn't realize it until suddenly I started singing. And I'm like, does this say?
I didn't know that either.
I'm like, does this say it's a musical? Because it didn't tell me that. But you know what? It's a more modern kind of pop version retelling
like
musical
Hamilton
thing.
For Jesus?
Yeah, kind of. It's not too over the top. It's, just kind of really good. And I was just like, what the heck is happening? Why are these people singing? But it was actually really interesting and entertaining. I think, first of all, what I liked is the main character is Fiona Palomo, who is a Mexican actress who we typically see in Spanish things, and she's just now starting to do English things. So I'm like, okay, cool. We have Milo Manheim, who most people probably know from the zombie high school musicals. There's the zombie. It's a series of zombie movies, right? They're zombies.
Zombie High?
Zombie High, whatever it is. Anyways, there's like 3 of them. He's on all of them. And so I'm like, this is an interesting pairing up. We know he can sing because those are all little musical movies. Didn't know this girl could sing. Antonio Banderas is there, and we know he can sing because, I mean, he can do anything. And
did we know he can sing?
I mean, I think we did. But I think, too, we have the guy, Rizwan Manji, who's the Indian guy that we love in everything. He's so funny. This guy, you can't see him. That guy. Love him. He is so fun. He's one of the wise men. So the wise men are there. The guy who you believed was Wesley Snipes is not. His name is Lecrae. He plays the angel Gabriel. And so it's got actually a really good cast. And I love that this was cast very colorblind. There's multicultural people all together, mixed together. And I loved it. So I was all about that. The second thing I really enjoyed were the costumes and the sceneries that they did. Because finally, I don't have just some person wrapped in a sackcloth and thing on their head. Like, we had different vibrant colors. Gotcha. The women had, like, when she was getting married, like, she had some different face masky things that I believe they would have worn at the time, and jewels and all these things. And the other thing that's actually really interesting is it's kind of told from the point of view of Joseph. We get a lot more of his story. If you read the Bible version, which
is this Joseph mansplaining the Bible?
Yes. But I think if you read the Bible, it just says, like, Joseph is like, what the heck is going on? And the angel comes and talks to him. That's all it tells you. And he says, it's okay, marry her. And he's like, okay. Well, in this one, we get a whole song like, I don't know what the heck to do. Like, what should I do? And Mary's like, what am I going to do? Like, everybody's actually singing and telling us and showing their doubts and their fears and their hesitation, which we don't get in the Bible story, but you got to believe that actually happened. They were human beings. And obviously this was a kind of a once in a lifetime thing that was going to happen, that this lady suddenly, immaculate conception is going to have a baby. So I actually enjoyed it. It is not 100% biblically accurate. I will give you that. But what I most enjoyed at the very end of the movie is they throw up a little screen and they're like, although not 100% biblically accurate, the purpose of this movie was to bring to light an exciting tale of the birth of Jesus. And I'm like, you know what? You did do that. You won me over by that one screen by letting me know, maybe it's not the actual Bible story, but it is close to it. It is a musical, dramatized, fictionalized version of the story. But man, they brought me in, and at the end, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that was so good!" I was crying, and it's like I know the story.
Shock. You cry about everything.
No, but you know what? I enjoyed it. I thought it was
big
great.
Old baby.
I liked it.
You big old baby.
And thank you for letting me watch it, because pretty much anything that's religious based, that's going to be me over here, because I'm all about that. So I liked it. I thought it was great, and you should watch it. It's on the video, I guess.
It's on Blu-ray and DVD now, yes.
There you go. Check it.
All right.
Check 1, 2. All right, next. Oh, random turn. Left turn.
Oh, okay.
This is the new DC animated feature, Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, Part 1.
Yes.
How many parts are there going to be?
There's going to be 3.
Oh,
goodness. This is one of the biggest crossovers that DC had done years and years and years ago.
This is based on a book, right? Or
it's based on a series, yeah. Okay. And you can buy the collected book. It's a classic. I think George Perez and who, rest in peace. And I forgot who else wrote it, but it's a great book. But it was used as kind of the way to bring all the Earths together in one place and retool the DC universe. And you never got to see it, so we may have to go sit down and actually just watch it since you bailed on the shows.
Oh, well, the TV shows.
The TV show did the Crisis on Infinite Earth, and what they did is it jumped around in all the old TV shows and brought in a lot of the original actors It even brought the
Nice.
Flash from the movie
movie
to
Flash.
the TV show.
Mm.
It even brought in Smallville. It even brought in Birds of Prey.
Oh, I liked that show.
So
Such a good
it
show.
connected to a lot of that stuff.
I need to go back and finish.
So you
all
get to
those
see,
shows.
basically, you're seeing different variations of these characters and different things. So they brought in the evil Justice League. It's Owlman and is it Ultraman or whatever his name is? Anyway,
yeah, Ultraman instead of Superman.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's basically the Flash running around through time because time is broken based on something the Flash did.
Yeah.
And so we're basically kind of running around and dealing with all this stuff.
I've got to tell you, I'd never seen the evil Justice League, which is the crime syndicate.
Oh, you haven't?
I love that Wonder Woman costume.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
like, and she is just so mean.
Johnny Quick is cool too.
Yeah, he was cool. And anyways, I know nothing about all these.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I know this story.
I mean,
so
I
it's
know
not,
it because you told me about the crossover.
It's not totally accurate. Neither version is compared to the original, but it is mostly. But as somebody outside of the realm of it, I enjoyed it because I always look at all these as a whole different animal. This is part of the same. It's actually known as the Tomorrowverse now, which is the more recent era of DC animated films. So for a long time we had the style when they started these DC movies with the Justice Leagues and the Batman and Robins and all those. The new version, which is what they're classifying the Tomorrowverse, is this newer art style with the thicker lines and stuff that started with Superman, Man of Tomorrow, and that's what it's been going on ever since. So this is part of that same universe. I was not a fan of this artwork at first, but it's kind of since grown on me. And I was excited again. I don't know if you caught it. Did you? Kind of a spoiler, but not really because it doesn't really matter. But did you see Warlord appear again?
No.
He's that barbarian guy with the helmet with the wings on his head.
Oh, from the last movie.
Yeah, he showed up in that little clip.
Oh, that's cool.
Remember, because I got all crazy because Warlord showed up in Warworld.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Anyway, as an outsider who doesn't know anything about this, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I liked it because, I feel like I'm always learning different characters and things. But then it's like some I was surprised, like I knew some of these people. Like because we have Brainiac and what's her name?
Vixen.
And then like this guy that's the Watcher guy, which we know, I don't know what his name is, but we know they exist in that other TV show. And
well, that's a different character.
Well, whatever. Yeah. The Monitor. This guy's the Monitor.
Yeah. There's the Anti-Monitor and the Monitor.
Yeah. So, but then it was cool just when you have like different Supermans from different planets get together, like a younger one and this one, and he's like, "Oh, did you know this person?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, that was a hard one, and he's like, "I'm glad it's going for good for you and your Earth." Or you have Batman, and like in this one, he told him you should take in Robin, and he didn't. But in the other Earth, he did take Robin, and he becomes Robin, and he becomes kind of like.
Well, there's another Earth that I don't think they touched.
That one got me in the feels.
Where in the Flashpoint story, where Thomas Wayne became Batman.
Oh my gosh!
But he ran around with guns.
Oh,
so he was a whole different Batman.
Well, in this one, like it had Helena, whatever her name, Wayne, I guess. So I'm just like, man, that was really emotional. And then I think the other thing in this one is I don't know what happened in the TV show of Flash when we get to see what's his name and Iris.
Yeah, they did that. The TV show is completely different.
Well, I don't because every time they try to get married, like something's going to happen that day, right? Which that happened in the show, but so that's my only reference point. So I don't know what happened in the book.
The dog is out.
She's snoring up a storm. But to get to see them and then through the different time shifts of their life and old times and new time when they're younger, they're older or whatever. I don't know how that works in the story, but just to see that they made it work. Even though everything was technically against them and they made it like that got me like I was crying about that too. Like I was just crying all over the place. It's actually a very emotional, touching story.
It is. I enjoyed it. It's well done. It's what it's you have to kind of let it go about if you're a super knowledgeable nerd of knowing that it's not exact. They change it up for the story a little bit. Sometimes they change it based on the characters you're using now. I mean the original story was like in the 80s, I believe, when it came out. So if you'd like to read it, I can let you borrow it. But
yeah,
But I love that they're doing it as a 3-part event movie series. So they're not rushing it and taking tons of stuff out of it. They're letting it expand and go. So it'd be interesting to see where they take it and how much. But I enjoyed this chapter.
And I love all of these voice actors. It's so many well-known people.
Yeah.
And, I'm just like, man, that makes sense. And, like, I didn't even know that was a character until I saw her. And I was like, oh, that's very native. Or that's very... I think that's the thing I like most about the superhero things is that they're representative and inclusive of all things. Creature. I mean, we can say of all aliens. Because, if you have a Green Lantern or you have whatever, it doesn't matter, like, that you don't have to be a middle-aged white dude to be superhero.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it helps because that's what they are. But... no, like women are there and people that speak different languages and alien creatures and all stuff, but they're all there for a common purpose to save the planet. So it's like, this was just so moving and emotional.
Well, that a lot of the stuff early on that some people like to forget, a lot of the comics that we'll say Stan Lee picked, and characters he created were dealing with injustices and stuff and bringing in certain characters like there's some people that will now argue it because people don't want politics in their comics, and I get that.
I didn't know Satanic was in it.
She's been doing Wonder Woman for a while now.
Where have I been? This is the girl from the
people don't want the politics in their comics and their woke agendas and stuff, and I get it on some level.
That girl from that other show, she's the one from Zombies, the Zombie High.
Sorry, but like the entire premise of like is like a whole racism thing and dealing with being different and ousting people and it's been an ongoing thing, but now you'll have people nowadays say, no, that's not what it's about. It's never been about that. It's not that agenda. It's whatever thing. But
it is.
If you want to argue that politics and stuff like that shouldn't be in comics, then you're going to have to go back to the very beginning when it was when you have a comic book with Captain America punching a Nazi on the cover of the book is obviously propaganda against the war at the time.
Yeah.
But I also understand it's how it's handled. Like, I don't want to read a comic book and it's preaching to me.
Right.
But I don't mind them and things. And I think the more variety of stuff you put in there and characters and personas and even mild agendas, it just makes for interesting storytelling.
Correct.
As long as there's a balanced nature to it. There have been many comics that have come out where you can tell that the writers are pushing it to one side and fighting. It becomes like watching politicians. And when you pick a side, it does alienate your reader. Where I think some of these things are really good because you have a Batman and a Superman. It's two types of the coin. Of this one believes in truth and justice. This believes I don't trust anybody. And
correct.
They're going to always butt heads, but work it out in the middle.
And I think I'm telling you, that was the thing that got me the most. There's a quote from Batman. Batman's in this room. And he's talking outside the future Hall of Justice. I've now written this quote on my work bio, like share about you. Batman says that there's nothing more important than different points of view and teamwork. And for Batman to say that after him wanting to be so isolated and not trusting anyone and hating the world, I'm just like, dude, if Batman can have a change of heart and realize the value of taking everyone's different point of views and working together as a team, I'm like, dude, then we can all I'm like Rocky. If I can change and you can change, we can all change. But I'm telling you, that's how impactful this little movie was. I told you I was crying. I totally was. And I mean, who expects to be crying at a little cartoon movie about superheroes? But I'm telling you, that's what I hope too about this, about all these different points of views. And then the other chick, I know it's the different thing, the Echo and all that. I know it's a different brand.
It's Marvel.
But I just hope that people can embrace it and see different points of view. And I know they won't because they hated Kamala just because she was a little Indian girl and they don't like the Marvels because it's women and we're preaching to you. But I would just hope that you would open yourself up because it matters to the rest of us that there are those people represented. The
problem now, again, is everything is blinded by the agendas. Is there are elements that have hurt the attempt to do these things like you're saying, because there's people that have gone too far and forced it, like the Supergirl TV series. I was against the show when it started because I thought it was completely wrong. When it came on, I was like, this show is fantastic.
There were a couple of episodes
and I
that were like, eh.
I loved the first two seasons.
Overall, it was great.
Right? I was like, I went online and quoted, I was wrong. The show is fun. It's great. It is not the teeny bopper thing that I thought it was going to be. Somewhere along the line,
kind of got a little
that show turned into
rocky.
This feminist,
yes,
gay rights agenda, which I'm not against. I didn't care, but I wanted it to feel natural to the story. And like it starts off with her sister being gay and stuff. That stuff was working fine. It was just a story. And then everything was constantly that. It felt like they were purposely writing it in there, and that's what the show became about. And then on top of that, they were doing horrible villains, and the show just got bad. And I'm not against any of that stuff. I don't care if the character's gay. I don't care what color the characters are, as long as there's a purpose. It's like, don't turn Batman black if there's not a reason and a story behind it. There's a book that I loved called I Am Batman, and it's about a black guy that becomes Batman.
Oh, awesome.
And he wears a thing over his face so nobody knows that he's not the same Batman. And he exists during the normal Batman. He's in a different city.
I got you.
And he took on the mantle as Batman for his own city. And it's a great book. And now there's an option to say you can cast someone as Batman who's black because he can be this guy. You know, and I hope we do some of this stuff because I know there's been talk about doing a Superman movie with Michael B. Jordan at one point. There is a black Superman character.
Yeah.
And you can do that. Where you're going to have a problem, it's the people that don't know the comics will automatically assume
Batman's not black.
That, they made Superman black. Now they've really forced their woke agenda on us, ignoring the fact that this character exists.
It does exist.
You know, and and
I think too, that's the other thing that because I don't know all of it, that's why I always say I don't know what happened in the book. So a lot of times you tell me. I think too, blindly just accepting the movies without looking at the history, I think is also a fallacy that a lot of people fall into. They're like, oh, I love Marvel movies or I love DC, but you only know the movie.
Yes.
And you don't understand the history of the character. Like I try to go read like this.
Well, you know, we have a friend.
I try to go look it up.
We have a friend who's a massive Marvel fan. And we've gotten into some discussion of like, yeah, but that movie didn't do it right, or this is. And I'm not one of those that will complain about, oh, that's not what they were supposed to do. I'll say it because I was hoping they were doing something else. But I look at anything that is not on my comic book page as an Elseworlds thing. It's a different thing that's borrowing that story. Marvel Cinematic Universe has not done any of the stories the way they are in the comics. Everything's been changed.
Little changes.
Some of it was rights issues. Some of it was just changing it to match. They decided to do this story after they'd already created these characters for the universe. And you have to use them.
You have to go with it now.
That's what DC kind of did with this too, with the Justice League they've established, or the characters they made popular in this version is who they had to use to go with the Infinite Earth stuff. They can't go back and not use those same characters. So you have to separate it. But when somebody tries to argue that point and you're like, you do know in the comic, this is how this is written. That's why they're doing this.
No.
Well, it makes no sense. It's like, doesn't matter. This is what it is. Just because you don't like it, that's the source material. That's like me going to somebody that has read the Harry Potter book. Like, well, that's dumb that they did this in the movie. Well, that's in the book. And me saying, well, that's the way they shouldn't do that. Yeah, they should, because that's how it's written. You know, so it's just one of those things that you'll never have those two worlds mesh. You know, but then you also have, when you get into genre stuff like this, especially when you start dealing with serious things, you're going to get the people that have issues with not only changing certain things, but infusing certain things. And genre fans are the worst fans because they're also the ones that will attack you.
Mm-hmm.
They'll attack the communities. Like Star Wars fans, probably the worst fans on the planet because they have created such a toxic environment of attacking because Luke Skywalker's not in charge now. A female was in charge now. And it's, and I'm not even talking if you like the movie's good or not.
No.
If you hate the movies, more power to you. But why did you hate it?
Get offended by the content.
There's not been a Star Wars movie come out that I didn't like. I have issues with certain things, but I love them all because it's Star Wars. I love it. I love like this. I love all comic book stuff.
Episode 1 is kind of like.
It's still my least favorite movie. I'll tell you, it's not an exciting movie.
But there are good things in each one.
But I'm as a comic book fan, I love every single thing that comes out of comic book movies. Some of them aren't that great, but I enjoy them for what they are because I never thought I'd get any of this crap.
Correct.
And I can separate like a Blue Beetle. I don't give two craps about the Blue Beetle. I love that movie.
I love that movie just because I never thought there would be a movie with a Mexican superhero and the whole family speaking Spanish, and they're giving references of things that I grew up watching. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm telling you that's that show, and you're like, okay. Like the show with Aaliyah. I'm like, I love that show.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. So it's a big deal to me. I don't know what Blue Beetle does.
Yeah, I don't. Well, and I don't.
I'll go look
I
it up.
don't know the history of Blue Beetle. I hate that character. I never read the book, and I'm like, I don't
But it
care
was
about this
cool
movie.
that he found the
But agreed,
armor
I
from the old
enjoyed the
guy.
movie.
I'm like,
I
cool.
enjoyed the culture aspect. It gave me something different. And this one's not as much cultural heavy. Obviously, it's very comic book, but you get so many characters and so many things in it. I just think it works. I can't wait to see the second one.
Yep, there you go. I like
So
it too.
this
It's
one,
very good.
this is already out. Yeah, this came out already, so it's on Blu-ray and DVD, everything now.
And for sure, we are giving away a copy.
Yes, we are giving away a copy of this
on
on
our
our
website,
website.
HollywoodMatrimony.com. All right, next. Oh, you got to tell me about this.
All right.
Because I am intrigued and confused, and because is this a multi-part movie?
This is part 2.
Okay.
So this is Alienoid Return to the Future.
Okay.
So the basic premise, I'm going to read you the premise.
Okay, tell me.
It's a short premise. It follows a shaman and a modern-day woman who race through time to battle a powerful alien commander intent on destroying mankind after locating the divine blade.
Okay.
Now, it's basically a sci-fi action flick merged with a period piece martial arts flick.
Okay.
Because it bounces between present day and like time of feudal Japan type world.
Are they doing like cool wire things and
Yes.
flying through the air? Oh,
and there's
I'm
one
in.
girl in the past running around with the samurais, but she's holding guns.
Oh.
And so she's running around. They're flying through there, and she's jumping in the air.
That's awesome. Are they not confused about why she's there with guns?
They think she's a wizard.
Oh, she is.
Like she's using magic, or she's got fire cannons or whatever, whatever. But yeah, so it's and it has so the first one. I enjoyed the first one immensely because it was one I thought was gonna be stupid. Because first Alienoid, just you think of the Noid from Domino's, and
the ears.
I didn't know what to expect and how this was gonna mash, and it worked. So it's like you have like this little Wall-E looking, not Wall-E, but his the counterpoint, the girl. The little white dome robot.
Oh, the little.
Yeah, it has this robot that looks like that merges into the person that's standing in the back of the picture.
Yeah.
That's a little robot character, but it also looks like what's one girl's dad, and there's a Range Rover that's actually a ship, and it's like there's a lot of different things.
I'd like for my Range Rover to be a ship.
Right. This is one of those big fancy box Range Rover types,
I
Land Rovers or whatever. But then there's like the government that's running around. So the first movie spent most of the time in the present day and little things bouncing back and forth. This one spends more time in the past, which made me entertain more because obviously I'm getting more of the martial artist stuff. But and then when it does go back to the future, it goes back to the future in a big sequence from the first movie.
Oh, okay.
So it's very got a Planet of the Apes-esque where one thing happens that causes something else to happen.
That's cool.
And there's like a character that's running around that you realize, oh crap, this character is this character from the first movie that got stuck in the past and is now older, and you didn't realize at first that's who that was, and then there's this little character that you didn't realize grew up to be this character, and
that's kind of cool.
You know,
okay, I love those things.
So there's like this one does go a little bigger, like the effects. It's very CGI heavy because it's a lot of alien stuff, and there's like this evil alien thing that takes over people's minds, and it's big tentacles, and there's these two wizards, this man and woman that are like magic users. They're from the past. They throw out like these little. They do those things where they have like the little pieces of paper that have the big letters thing, and they throw it and it does magic and whatever.
Oh, okay.
And they have this magic mirror that they hold it, and you put it in, it magnifies. So there's like a whole sequence where this lady runs, and she turns around and she punches through it, and then her hand becomes this gigantic hand.
A bunch of things.
And grabs stuff and punches stuff. So it goes crazy.
Cool.
You have to kind of buy into the insanity, ridiculousness in this one a little more than the first one. But I really dig these two movies. They're definitely ones you should watch back to back.
Okay.
Like I saw the original one, and then it ends on a cliffhanger. I'm like, and I didn't know at the time a sequel existed.
Yeah.
They were shot back to back.
Oh, okay.
And so I watched that movie, and it ended, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Because it didn't say part 1 on it. It didn't say anything. It just said Alienoid. And I'm like, I am annoyed. You know, what happened? And so I went online and looked, and I said, oh, there's another one. And then it'd been a while. It was last year, I think, sometime. I forgot about it. And so this one came out in the theater this week, and I was like, oh, crap. Okay, it's here. So I really enjoyed these movies. They got martial arts, they got action, science fiction.
Yeah, I love it.
And anytime you blend two eras that don't belong together. It entertains me if it's done right.
Yeah.
It's like it makes me think of Time Rider. You ever seen Time Rider? With Fred Ward. It's a movie about this dirt bike rider. He goes back in time, and he ends up in the Old West. Love that movie. I own it on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Me and my dad saw it at the theater. It was so good. But anyway, anytime time travel stuff, I love time travel. But only really mostly when they merge stuff that doesn't belong. So like seeing the girl run around in this old school martial arts wushu period Korean wardrobe, but she's brandishing two Glocks. It's just cool to watch.
That is awesome.
So anyway, Alienoid Return to the Future is in I'm assuming select theaters. It'll probably be on digital, and I'm assuming it'll hit Hiya sooner than later. But the first Alienoid is in fact on Hiya now. Okay. So if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Awesome.
I'm working on, when this one does get a Blu-ray release, maybe doing a double feature release contest. So be on the lookout.
All right, next.
This is the last one.
This is the last one for right now.
This one I'd been hearing a bunch of stuff about, and then didn't realize it was already hitting.
Yeah, didn't know. This is the Amazon original film, The Underdoggs.
So I have to say, yeah, stars Snoop Dogg and Mike Epps and George Lopez. I have to state it first. I'm a massive Snoop Dogg fan.
Okay.
Like, I've been a fan of Snoop Dogg since his first song, Deep Cover with Dr. Dre from the Deep Cover soundtrack. So I'm there anytime Snoop Dogg shows up. I recognize that Snoop Dogg's not the greatest actor all the time.
Because he's just being himself.
He's got way better over the years. But yeah, he usually plays a version of Snoop. There's been a couple times that he went off the rails with something new. But this movie actually interested me more because of his real life involvement in Pee Wee football.
Yes,
it's been a very well known thing.
It was in his TV show when you used to watch the show.
Yeah, and he did a bunch of he actually has an entire Pee Wee league that's massive. So it made this movie a little more believable than it might have been otherwise. You know, basically the premise is Snoop Dogg plays a ex-football player who was a big deal hot shit guy who's kind of crashed and burned and gets in trouble, and through random encounters and police and courts, and he ends up back in the hood where he grew up in and becomes the coach for this Pee Wee football team that sucks.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Yeah, so it's a story we've seen billions of times. You know, we watched that, which we'll talk about another one, Mexico Wins, Mighty Ducks. This story's been
that, and they bring up Mighty Ducks. He's like, "No, you got to Mighty Ducks that, man."
Yeah, that was in the other movie though, but yeah.
No, it was this one.
It was in,
yes, he was. He's like, "No, you got to Mighty Ducks."
Oh yeah, you're right. Because they were talking about the cows.
You get close to the lady. Yeah. That's how you get the mom.
Right.
Is you coach the team, and then you get close to the mom.
So it's basically all those same stories where the coach doesn't want to be there. And then goes and deals with these kids. The kids have their own issues. They build them up. We all know where it's going to go for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's the journey getting there. And
it's fun.
What I like more than anything is this is not a kid's movie.
It is not. And it shows that. And the first thing on the screen is like this. There is foul language and all that. This is not a kid's movie. But your kids are going to watch it anyway. So just watch it with them.
Yeah. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was funny. The most striking thing is you being like, Snoop is so skinny. He's so bony. How do his little legs keep him standing up?
I know. I've always thought that. Every time I've seen him, because he's always been a little tiny. Not a little tiny. He's super tall, but like
skinny.
Just so bony. And I'm like, poor
guy. The movie's cute. I do question the language of the kids because they're using bad language too throughout the whole thing. Do kids act this way? Now,
yeah.
Lord, I'm glad I ain't dealing with kids.
I coached football for a season.
I'm not trying to deal with any of that. Anyways, but it is funny. It's cute. It's heartwarming.
I thought Snoop did. I mean, even though Snoop's kind of playing Snoop, I think he did a good job. Yeah. He brought some heart to it a couple times. I think this movie dropped probably more F-bombs, N-words, and the use of the word titties than I have seen in anything in God knows how long.
A lot.
And it was hilarious.
Gosh. It's a lot.
And so for those of you who don't know about my wife, the word titties makes this happen. If you say it, she giggles.
It's just so inappropriate.
And she'll always say it's inappropriate.
Just say boobs or breasts.
And so there's an ongoing joke that I'll randomly say it just to make her laugh. So this movie has a perfect use of it.
Oh my gosh.
And so it pops up pretty often. And it's not gratuitous nudity. There's not even nudity in this movie.
No.
The R rating is strictly language. There's no sex. There's some pot use, that kind of thing, but it's all just verbal language. So it is really a family-friendly movie.
It is a family movie,
minus the language.
With language.
Yeah.
You just got to know that.
But I find it funny. It is just an Amazon film, so it's probably the best place for it. I think it's one that didn't really need a big release, but
it was fun. I liked it. I thought it was really enjoyable. I think Mike Epps is always hilarious. He's just ridiculous. But I think that's what I like about him. I don't know if he's ever done anything serious. I'd have to see if he does Shakespeare or something on the side.
Shakespeare, but no, he's done a couple of things, serious roles. I think
hilarious, and I enjoyed George Lopez being there.
Shakespeare.
I don't know, maybe
George Lopez is kind of the old high school coach. He gives him some
advice.
Sage advice.
So I'm like, this was a fun movie. It was good. Check it out.
And it's made all the more stronger that when you see the end of the movie, it shows a little caption that
about him.
His experiences in working with the kids and the youth and stuff was the kind of the basis of this movie, and helped get this movie made because it was kind of a supportive.
And some of those kids on his Pee Wee team made it to the NFL. They've grown up and they've made it.
So the whole credits are showing.
It's really cool.
Basically, photos of him, the real life coaching, the real life teams, and so it's almost like this was a true story, but it's not a true story whatsoever. But kind of in that same world.
But it's based on something that is true of his life.
Now there are moments initially that I was like, this movie's very clunky. It's very like the whole setup. I think was the only thing that didn't work for me. The whole setup of building Snoop Dogg to believe that he's a wide receiver or whatever in the NFL. The guy that got to play him, while had looks a little bit like him, he wasn't built like Snoop.
Yeah.
And they did their best they could. And then it kind of transitions to it's part of the funny nature of it. It's like that guy became Snoop Dogg. But once you get past that part and we get to the kids part, the movie got really good.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
I was a little worried when I watched that first half. I'm like, oh my God, this movie is going to be trash. But once you, like I said, he gets to the coaching aspect, the movie's actually really entertaining past that. Check it out. The Underdoggs, 2Gs, is available now on Amazon Prime.
There you go.
I'm sorry, Prime Video.
Prime Video.
What else we got? Oh,
it's over to you, sir.
Over to me, ma'am. It's got a couple of good ones coming out this week. First off, the Conan Chronicles, Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer are getting a 4K release. I believe they're releasing them individually and as a package deal. So you get a new 4K transfer of both films. And I just would like to say publicly that I think Conan the Destroyer gets a bad rap.
Is that the second one again?
That is the second one.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
That's the one that has...
Is it the Arnold or no?
Yeah, Arnold's in both of them.
Okay.
Mako's in both of them too. That's the one that has Grace Jones and Wilt Chamberlain both in it. These. And then the first one's the one that has James Earl Jones.
Yeah. The one I like is Red Sonja.
Well, in fun fact, that was supposed to be Conan. But the rights thing or whatever didn't work, so they had to change the name. And Arnold did not want to do that movie.
No.
And then agreed to do it as a favor. That was supposed to be just a quick cameo, and then ends up being in most of the movie.
Most of it, yeah, with her. Okay, well,
I like Red Sonja as well, even though it gets a bad rap as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what do we know?
The movie Silent Night. The John Woo and Joel Kinnaman, flick.
That's Nicole Kidman.
Basically, the silent action film. It's coming out.
It was actually really good, and I think that was one that you enjoyed because you didn't have to worry about going to get a hearing device to watch
them kill things.
You just watched it, and it was good.
It's coming out on Blu-ray and DVD this week. Also, the slasher flick from Eli Roth, Thanksgiving, that is already getting a sequel, is coming out to Blu-ray and DVD. And then some other older stuff is coming out.
All right. Well, let's talk about what's coming out at the theater because there's a lot. So. Starting tomorrow, Monday night on Netflix, a documentary called The Greatest Night in Pop. This is a documentary about the making of the song video, We Are the World. And they're saying it almost didn't happen. And so the documentary walks us through all that. Coming out on Tuesday on Video Demand and Digital. It's a movie called Gacy, Serial Killer Next Door. That's just for you because you're interested in serial killer documentaries.
The problem is almost everything that comes out about John Wayne Gacy is just trash.
Well, this is an actual film, not a documentary, so maybe it'll be good.
That's what I'm saying. The documentaries are usually fine. It's the movies people make them out.
Okay, well, this is the movie. It's about John Wayne Gacy, obviously. Also on Video Demand and Digital, a movie called Ozma. It's an insomniac who can't sleep. He's haunted by the loss of his wife, and he discovers, wait for it, a mystical jellyfish that lives in the alley behind his house. And
that makes total sense.
Craziness ensues.
Here.
I saw that. Also coming out on Video Demand and Digital. This might be good. It's a horror movie called The Red Tide Massacre. It's about a rookie cop who starts to see a string of deaths after an environmental disaster in Florida, but they find out it's an actual serial killer that's in the area. Coming out on Wednesday to Netflix, a movie called Will. It's about two young police officers. This is just for you who'd have to decide whether they're going to collaborate or resist the Nazi-occupied Antwerp during World War II. So it's based on a book. So it's about fighting Nazis. You'll like that one. Guys, it's already February. So coming out Friday, February 2nd at the theater, the new movie Argyle about the spies. This is the one where Bryce Dallas Howard is writing a book about a detective named Argyle. But what she doesn't realize, a spy, secret agent spy guy. But what she doesn't realize is every time she writes something, it comes true. And they're like, how do you know Argyle? So they go and get her.
And Argyle's played by Henry Cavill, looking very much like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I don't understand that hair.
In theory, we have a screening for those on Tuesday.
I'll have to go see. Okay, also coming out in theaters, a movie called Scrambled. It's about a lady who's getting older, hasn't found the right person, and decides to freeze her eggs. But while doing so, she may have unwittingly found the one. So we'll see.
The one egg or the one person?
The one person. Oh. Coming to Paramount Plus, a movie called The Tiger's Apprentice. It's an animated feature. It actually looks really good. This guy finds out that his grandmother was actually skilled in Chinese magic arts and wants him to learn, and that throughout his life he's been looked over by a tiger, a mystical. It's a guy who shows up and he's like transforms into a tiger. It looked really cool. I want to watch it. Coming to Peacock, Bosco, a movie about somebody named Bosco Adams, who's someone who manages to escape a federal maximum security prison within 24 hours. It's a drama. It's a thriller. It looks interesting. Coming to Netflix, a movie called Orion and the Dark. It follows the story of Orion, who's a young boy afraid of the dark. Coming to Prime Video, the new series Mr. and Mrs. Smith, based also, I guess, if you've seen the movie with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it was oh shoot.
You give me a tell me?
Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, this is the TV series, and it's not Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt. It's actually people of color, which I appreciate. And people are going to be like, why are they doing that? Yeah, forcing the agenda. So that's what's happening this week.
Awesome. Also, this week that's in theaters now. We plan to go see it. We didn't get a chance to.
Well,
I'm still trying to figure out how I can go. I may have to go without you because I don't know if we can both do it. But they re-released Godzilla -1.
So let's go right
it's
now.
now called Godzilla -1 minus color. It's a full-blown black and white version in honor of the original Godzilla release to make it look in that same
cross-eyed Godzilla.
Genre. So yeah.
So
if you didn't get to see Godzilla -1, there's a chance to see a different variation on it. The movie is fantastic.
It is fantastic. You go ahead and see it if you want. All right, tell me about the contests.
Oh, that's a good question. I think closed down on me.
Okay, well here they're on the screen.
So anyway, so we have numerous contests still happening. We have copies of the Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 1 on Blu-ray.
I enjoy it.
As well as some digital copies of The Marvels.
I watched that this week too. I really liked it.
If you let me try to say that in English. It's on digital now, but it'll be hitting on the Blu-ray and all that stuff in a couple of weeks. So there's your chance to do that. Then we have copies of The Flying Swordsman that we talked about here the other day. as well as the Academy Award nominated film, The Holdovers, and the one's 10 Golden Globes.
And they've all won awards for this, haven't they?
I don't think The Boy has.
He was nominated.
He was nominated. It's his first film. He's been nominated, so he's going to be doing fine. But both Paul Giamatti and I forgot.
Divine Joy
Randolph. Yeah, both of them have won Golden Globes. And I think they're some of the favorites to win for the Oscars, but we'll see. It was one of my favorite movies this year. We have some digital copies of the new movie Wish that we'll also be talking about in a couple of weeks. It has been about a month probably before we talk about it. We can technically talk about it next week if you want to.
I would like to.
And then we have copies of a movie that we haven't seen yet called A Creature Was Stirring that we'll be talking about soon.
That looks good.
Which is a holiday monster flick. Starring Chrissy, whatever her name is, from that. This is a show that I boycotted.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what we got.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this week for our episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com.
Sorry.
You've been talking too much. Make sure you check out the contest button. Click on it. Follow the instructions, please. Go find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Hive, and Blue Sky. There you go.
And have yourself a wonderful day. And if you haven't, if you're a fan of He-Man, Kevin Smith's new season, Masters of the Universe Revolution, all 5 episodes are up on Netflix now. It was fantastic. Those of you that didn't like the first season, you'll probably like this season way more because it is very much He-Man centric and it's got tons of characters, including Gwildor from the Masters of the Universe live action movie that nobody cared about.
Wow. Okay, then. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.